What's up, YouTube? This is 2 Raw 4 TV. So before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to Daryl Sloan for the donation to the channel by way of the Cash App and the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love twice to 2 Raw for TV, aka 2 Raw for Sports. He said, keep up the good work. I'm trying my best, bro. Trying my best to, put out these videos for you guys, man. So much respect to him for showing love once again. One of the best basketball historians out there. Shout out to Daryl Sloan. So you still have people, man, who keep insisting that Shaq had better competition, greater competition than Wilt Chamberlain. Okay, look, man, this is so easy to debunk this. Look, let's just use common sense. The argument is bigger, better, faster, stronger, whatever, right? Wilt played in the late 50s, 60s, early 70s. Shaq played in the 90s, 2000s, into 2010s. More teams, right? More teams. There was more playoff rounds when Shaq played. So it would stand to reason that his competition should be more numerous as far as there's more teams. Therefore, it should be more Hall of Famers he played against for his position. Shouldn't even be really that close, right? You know, when Shaq played, it was what, between 27 and 30 teams, I guess, in the league. When Wilt played, 8 to 17 teams. So should be way in favor of Shaquille O'Neal, right, in the playoffs. The competition at the center position. Well, these are the facts. Wilt Chamberlain in the playoffs played in 29 postseason series. And in those 29 postseason series, 20 times he played against a Hall of Fame center. Bill Russell 8 times, Nate the Great Thurman 3 times, Willis Reed twice in the NBA Finals, Kareem twice, because remember back then, the Bucks were in the Western Conference. Walt Bellamy twice, Jerry Lucas, the only white player in the history of the league to average over 20 rebounds per contest. And I think in today's league, with his mid-range shooting, outside shooting, rebounding, tenacity, he'd be a much, much better version of Kevin Love. Hall of Famer Lmao Beatty twice, and Wayne Embry, not a Hall of Famer, but borderline, close. And not to mention multiple-time All-Star Johnny Red Kerr, later on the first head coach of the Chicago Bulls and longtime color commentator with the Chicago Bulls. These are players at the center position that Wilt Chamberlain went against in his playoff career. So generally speaking, he almost always played against either a very good, or Hall of Fame caliber player at his position. Now let's look at Shaq. Now, let's just go through his playoff career. Rick Smith was good. And Orlando got swept in 94. In 95, trying to go through the teams, Chicago did not have a Hall of Fame center. Luke Longley's not a Hall of Famer. They went against Rick Smith again, real good. Now, Kim and Dream Olajuwon, all-time great. Swept again. Okay. 96, no. When I can recollect, no. '97, now he's with the Lakers. Don't believe so. I'm trying to remember the teams they played in the playoffs. Don't believe so. Know the team that eliminated them, their center was Greg Ostertag. Moving on, '98, eliminated by Utah, Greg Ostertag. I'm trying to remember if they played San Antonio or not in '98. They may have. I can't quite remember the matchups. In '99, I know they played against the Spurs. They were eliminated by the Spurs, swept by the Spurs. David Robinson, Hall of Famer, but he was on the downside of his career at that time. And then after that, Arvydas Sabonis, but he was a shell of himself. Divac, okay, um, more of an international Hall of Famer, solid NBA player, but not a Hall of Famer. The finals is where it gets embarrassing. Okay, he did go against an older Dikembe Mutombo, but in 2000 you go against Rick Smits, who was finished. I mean, his feet were, his feet might as well have shrapnel in it by that time. He was done. That was after that finals, he retired. And then afterwards, when he's putting up these huge numbers in the finals, these super dominant numbers, he's going up against guys like Matt Geiger, Todd McCullough, Jason Collins. Yeah, that's the competition he's putting up, big numbers. And then afterwards, Ben Wallace, he's a Hall of Famer. They lost that series. Yeah, that's about it. There's a big disparity. He only went up against, in the finals, Ben Wallace, who's a Hall of Famer, but sort of borderline, Elijah Wan, and that's it. And each time he lost. Matter of fact, in those series, his teams went 1-8. In 2006, when they won a championship, I believe the Mavericks center was, I think it might have been, um, what's his face? Can't think of his name off the top of my head. I think he was an All-Star one time. But yeah, other than that, man, the disparity is just ridiculous, man. And then you would think, well, if he isn't going up against as much Hall of Fame competition in that position, then surely he should be putting up a whole bunch of, 50, 60-point performances. And you look at his career, 3 50-point games versus Chamberlain's 122. So I don't know how you look at it. At the end of the day, Wilt had the superior numbers. He played against a superior competition. And Wilt also showed that he could alter his game. Wilt could play power, the power game. He could play finesse. He could be a facilitator. He could be a primary scorer. Wilt was stronger than Shaq, quicker, more athletic, everything. Shaq is great, but he didn't really start dominating until the big men who were great, the Patrick Ewings, the David Robinsons, all those guys, Elijah Wan, all these centers, Moses Malone, they all aged out and retired. Whereas you can make a strong argument that Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem both went up against the strongest competition at the center position in the history of the NBA. So anyway, that's all I got to say in this video. Tell me what you guys think.